Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to skip right past the basics of remote work. Instead, we're going to deconstruct the actual operational blueprint that separates the truly high-performing distributed teams from, well, from everyone else. Okay, let's just start right here because this is the critical distinction that most companies completely get wrong. And the answer is the difference between a team that's just surviving and a team that is absolutely thriving. You see, real success in a remote world isn't about having the latest tools or a premium Zoom subscription. No, it demands an entirely new operational blueprint. It's a fundamental shift in how work actually gets done. So here's how we're going to build this blueprint out. We'll start with the most important part, the foundational mindset shift. Then we'll get into the mechanics with the asynchronous first playbook. After that, we'll cover the crucial human side of things with engineering a thriving culture. And finally, we'll tie it all together with your actionable remote framework. All right, let's get into our first building block. This whole thing starts with a fundamental shift in how we even think about work. And let me tell you, this isn't some small tweak. It's a complete philosophical overhaul. You know, for decades, management was basically based on what you could physically see. But the moment the office disappears, those old ways of measuring work are suddenly exposed as being completely flawed. Turns out, we were measuring all the wrong things. And these are the classic culprits, what we call false proxies. Being physically present, logging hours at a desk, attending a ton of meetings. All these things measure the appearance of work, not the actual outcome. It's a model that just completely shatters in a remote setting. This comparison just lays it out perfectly. The old way, traditional management, is all about watching people. Remote-first leadership is about measuring the work itself. The whole focus shifts from inputs to outputs, from a culture of control to a foundation of trust. And let's be really clear here. This isn't just some nice-to-have suggestion. This is a forced evolution. The companies that can't make this leap, the ones that cling to monitoring activity instead of measuring results, they're the ones that are ultimately going to fail at this. So if you boil it all down, what's the single most important principle in all of this? It's trust. It's giving people autonomy. The best remote leaders understand that trust isn't a perk. It's the core operating system for the entire team. Without it, the whole blueprint just collapses. Okay, so once we have that foundation of trust and a results-first mindset locked in, now we can build the operational engine on top of it. This is what's going to power your team day in and day out. And the fuel for that engine is asynchronous communication. It sounds complex, but it's a simple idea. Work doesn't have to happen in real time. This is the antidote to the always-on, notification-heavy culture that causes so much burnout. Now, what's really key here is that neither of these is better than the other. The real skill is knowing when to use which tool. Synchronous, real-time communication is for brainstorming or sensitive conversations, but asynchronous should be your default for almost everything else. Project updates, feedback, all of it. Because when you make asynchronous first your default setting, you unlock so many benefits. You enable deep, focused work. You get higher quality, more thoughtful responses. And maybe the biggest one of all, you create a permanent, searchable record of every decision. It's like building an external brain for your entire team. And of course, making this async model a reality means having the right tech. Tools like Trello, Asana, or Jira, they stop being just simple task trackers. They become the central hub, the nervous system, where all communication and collaboration happens, giving everyone total visibility without needing yet another meeting. So, we have the mindset, we have the operational engine. Now it's time for the final and maybe the most critical piece of the puzzle, the human element that makes this whole thing sing. Look, here's a hard truth about working remotely. Culture doesn't just happen by accident. You can't rely on those spontaneous water cooler moments anymore. Connection and psychological safety have to be intentionally designed and engineered right into the system. And the bedrock of any healthy remote culture is psychological safety. All that means is creating an environment where people feel safe to speak up, to share a crazy idea, to take a risk, or even to admit a mistake without being afraid. If you don't have that, you don't get innovation. You just get silence. And the data backs this up. It shows exactly what happens when we neglect this human element. Social isolation and burnout aren't just personal problems for your employees to figure out on their own. No way. They are direct operational threats to your productivity and your ability to keep good people. They're business problems. So, for any team that does get together in person, this 4Cs framework is just brilliant. It makes sure that precious face-to-face time isn't wasted on boring status updates. Instead, you use it for high-value activities. You connect, you collaborate on the tough stuff, you calibrate on strategy, and you celebrate your wins. Ultimately, the best remote organizations don't just guess about their team's health. They measure it. They track engagement and well-being with the exact same rigor they track productivity. These are not soft metrics. They are absolutely essential business KPIs. Okay, let's bring all these pieces together. The mindset, the playbook, the human element. Let's combine them into one final actionable framework. So here it is, the blueprint in a nutshell. It's a mindset of trust, not location. It runs on an asynchronous first engine. It replaces physical proximity with intentional connection. And it treats well-being as a critical business metric. And this isn't just theory. For companies like Zapier and GitLab, this is a proven competitive advantage. And the payoff for getting this right is just huge. When you proactively engineer your remote model like this, you're not just surviving, you're building a massive competitive advantage. An organization that's more resilient, more effective, and a magnet for the best talent in the world. So I'll leave you with this one question. Think about your own team. What's one single false proxy for productivity? Maybe it's a pointless meeting. Maybe it's an obsession with being online that you can eliminate this week. Because taking that one small step, that's how you begin building a better blueprint.